Hello and welcome, or welcome back to my channel. My name is David Nowak. Today I am going to do the Rule of Three tag, which is a tag created by Sui at Sui's Book Banter in observation of her 3rd anniversary on BookTube. I saw the tag done by Pat at Book Chat with Pat. So far, nobody has tagged me. People have tagged me for other tags and I have not done them. I'm a little bit scattered these days, and also I prefer to print out the prompts, and our printer is kind of on the fritz. So if it's a very short tag and I can handwrite the things, I will do that. Or if it's short enough and I can look off of my phone, I will do that. Anyhow, you probably didn't need to know that. But this is a very fun tag. It should go quick, though my answers will probably not be the best, and I will not be trying to answer every single one. So there are prompts in 3 groups, and by the way, these prompts will be reproduced in the description box to this video. 3 questions about books reading. Number 1, what are your 3 favorite genres? I don't know that I would call any genres my favorite, but just taking a look at my shelves, the answer kind of jumps out at you. You've got poetry, you've got history, and you've got novels. So those are my 3 favorite genres. I realize that any of those can be subdivided down further, but I thought that as bland as that may seem, that is the best representation of myself as a reader. Now, my phone just went out, and I have lately been doing Ice Watch. And so because I am out on the streets, potentially, but not probably, having encounters with these ICE hooligans, I have biometrics turned off of my device. So when it goes dark, I have to punch in the password. That's a legal thing. The police are allowed to force your finger onto the button and thereby gain access to your phone, but they cannot make you tell them the password. So that's a little protection that you should be aware of. And as far as facial recognition, I've never used that, but they can hold the phone up to your face and gain access that way. It doesn't seem like it should be so, but so the courts have ruled. These minimal protections are certainly every day at risk of slipping away, but we must do what we can to preserve them. So, number 2, who are your 3 auto-buy authors? And number 1 would be the historian Moses Finley. He has been dead a while now, but if anything comes out by him, about him, etc., I will pick it up. So, Studies in Roman Property. I haven't read this one yet, but I probably should. I think it may well have been a thesis he did. I mean, look at this. It looks like it's typewritten pages. Studies in Roman Property are not something that really interest me. And I think he has one in something about credit, Roman credit, studies in Roman, or no, not Roman, Athenian credit or something. I mean, just not at all what I would be interested in. I would love for some letters to come out. I would love for a compilation of his reviews. He did that, the sort of incidental periodical reviewing that scholars will do if they can. His writing was very lucid. I would love to see a compilation of even the most incidental writings that he did. However, I don't think I will be seeing that anytime soon. If there's a symposium about him, I will buy it, even though those things are astronomically priced. So that's just how it goes. I realize for a third name of a must-buy author, I really could not come up with anything. So I just fell back on Casey Chang, who I was reading at the beginning of the year and would like to. This is his archaeology textbook, and I love his writing. I think I have just about everything that he wrote. There's one that I don't have, so I obviously haven't bought everything. I think it's something that he edited, but there again, he's the type of author, if he edits something or so forth, I would pick it up. But the second must-buy author is Brooke Allen. She is primarily a literary critic, but has taken side jobs, such as this biography of Benazir Bhutto. I haven't read this, and she has a travel log to Syria just before the Civil War broke out. I think it was published like a week before that happened, thereby making it a vital historical document, perhaps, but also rendering it useless for the contemporary market when it was released. She has not seemed to have written much for the last 10 or more years. I always look out for her. Looks kind of like the Unabomber there, doesn't it? But so she is the one living author that I would like to see more of, and would certainly pick up any book by her that I became aware of. So, 3 questions now. Oh, nope. I'm jumping ahead. Sorry, number 3. What 3 books do you recommend the most? And it's sort of an odd set, but when I think back over my channel, I'm talking primarily about the channel, books that I have effused about in various situations, possibly just in a comment section, in a comment on somebody else's video or so forth, but my own videos as well. Ancient history, evidence, and models. There is no book, no author that has had a greater impact on my life, excluding poets. I am not talking about poets here, but I absolutely love this book, Evidence and Models. Somebody no less than Arnaldo Momigliano said that he was the best living social historian of Greece and the one most prepared to face the methodological problems which social history implies. Well, he talks about methodological problems in this book quite a bit. Of course, he is no longer living, except in the hearts of me and other readers here and there. A second book, which I think I recommend heartily often enough when a tag video comes along that makes me call it forth, that is the I Ching. Now, I have utilized and relied upon the Richard Wilhelm translation throughout the bulk of my life. I actually don't use it very much anymore. It's a great book of philosophy, and I always recommend it as such. Just a marvelous book. I recently came across a newer translation one that hopes to supplant this as the standard go-to volume of this work. I don't know if it has done so, and I haven't poked into it as yet. And a third book, which I have recommended so many times, which nobody in the world seems enthusiastic about, and I begin to doubt myself, and that is The Afternoon of a Writer by Peter Hanke. It's a novel about a writer, which is a genre I abhor. It's very short. It looks like maybe 77 pages, something like that. But I just love it for some reason. I think Peter Hanke fell out of favor when he spoke at the funeral of Slobodan Milosevic or something like that. And the rest of his writing is all over the map. I've seen plays by him which I couldn't stand. And I've read a couple of thicker books which were kind of interesting and kind of enjoyable, but did not hit the sweet spot that this one did. So next up are 3 questions about booktubing. Number 4, what is your favorite book from each year for the past 3 years? And I noticed Pat started at 2023, so I will do that. And we are talking about what I read in those years, not what was written in those years. I seldom read things as they come out. So in 2023, at the end of the year, I might have said differently, but I think in retrospect, the standout for me is The Night of the Living Res by Morgan Talty. I think I might have grouped it with God's Children Are Little Broken Things, but as time has worn on, this is the one that stands out for me. I would have to re-look at the other one to see if my affirmative feelings toward it remain constant. This one I don't need to re-look at. I know still that it does. So that leads me to suspect that the other book is beginning to wane in my estimation. I think that year I listed as my favorite book the one by John Kenneth Galbraith, which was a reread for me, the New Industrial State or something like that. But I think this is the book. So for 2024, I do not have a copy at hand, but it would have to be The White Rajas by historian Stephen Runciman. He went a little bit out of his field. He was a medieval historian tending to focus on the Byzantines or the Crusades, that kind of thing, the Eastern Church, but he stepped out of his wheelhouse and did a very nice biography of the 3 white Rajas in Malaysia, in I think Sawarnak province. I would have to look that up. I can't remember. Freddie at the Sluggish Reader is probably going to whop me upside the head if I got it wrong, and I'm pretty sure I got it wrong. That's okay. And then for this year, the year is not out yet, but my reading has kind of tumbled over a cliff, or at least down a steep hillside. And so while there yet remains some time which could displace this book, I don't think anything will. And that is the book that I just finished, which is George Eliot's The Mill on the Floss. It's a very well-known title because I've heard it in the background as long as I've been reading. I loved Romola when I first read it, and that was my favorite book by George Eliot for several years. But this book was just perfect. Anyhow, not everybody likes Eliot, so that's how that goes. Number 5, what are 3 things you've learned from BookTube? I can't provide 3 things, and here it's more because I'm scattered. But I think the main thing that I learned, really, trying to be a little bit of the social historian, let us say, what I've learned is that there are a lot of people reading books out there, and a lot of people reading books that sort of are in my neck of the woods as well. I would not have guessed, perhaps. Sometimes one hears other doom and gloomer booktubers saying nobody reads anymore. It's a infinitesimally small portion of the population that reads. Well, so it has always been, probably. So that is not a worry for me. But what I have found is that an awful lot of people do read, which the magic of the internet helps to connect. And it turns out, as you can learn by rolling around on BookTube, an awful lot of them are really, really nice people. So that's one thing that I have learned, and I'm not going to linger for any other things. Number 6, what are 3 goals you have the next year on BookTube? I don't have any goals. My overriding goal for this next year would be just to try to survive the fascist government that we have, that is trying to destroy our rights. If I can manage that, then anything else is cream. Well, I shouldn't say that, because one can survive in ways that are not all that salutary, let me say. So next, 3 random for fun questions, and here again I'm going to fall short. Number 7, what are 3 fictional worlds you'd like to visit? Well, I'm going to take an answer from James at Quaint and Curious Volumes and say Paradise, Dante's Paradise. I would like to visit that, if only for the reason that I might there run into James and his dog, because he had suggested that that is where he would like to take her for a little walk, though it is hard to see where either of them would find a foothold in those celestial circles amongst the musical spheres, or whatever it is up there. One fears that the air might be a little thin as well. I suppose, second to that, it would be nice to go to North Carolina, perhaps, where I might run into this same pair, but that, alas, would not fulfill the prompt of being a fictional world, at least as I understand fiction. I suppose there are some MAGA belts there which would be fictional, but I would not care to set foot there. Number 8, what are 3 ships, relationships, romantic or platonic, you'll always root for? And here I cannot answer that. I don't root for any ships. I don't root for anything. I saw somewhere that if you were in England, you would not be using that word root. It's something Americans say, which leaves British listeners aghast. That's what I've heard. But regardless, I am not going to partake. And number 9, name 3 books with a number in the title. And that's a very fun one to do. 2 of which I have read and 1 of which I have kept promising myself to read. So 101 Dalmatians, a favorite book of my childhood. I think most people now read her other book. What is it? I Capture the Castle or something. Does it say? Probably not, because, oh yeah, there it is. I Capture the Castle. Most people now, I think, read that, but I loved this book. I read it at least twice. It's very different to the very old Walt Disney movie, and much, much, much better. There have been, I think, some remakes, and I am sure that those are even worse than the old Disney movie. But the book tops them all for certain. Next one is the book that has been on my TBR more than once, and I have failed to get anywhere with it. AD 381. I read his textbook on the ancient world. He covers Egypt, Greece, and Rome, and not much else, but tries to discuss those regions as they related to one another. Very good. A later edition, I believe, tries to encompass more, but I have not gotten it. I would reread that book if I came across it. This, however, has been on my list, on my wish list. I'm wish list as far as reading, but it may not happen. In AD 381, Theodosius, emperor of the Eastern Roman Empire, issued a decree in which all his subjects were required to subscribe to a belief in the Trinity of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This edict defined Christian orthodoxy and brought to an end a lively and wide-ranging debate about the nature of God. All other interpretations were now declared heretical. It was the first time in 1,000 years of Greco-Roman civilization that free thought was unambiguously suppressed. Why has Theodosius's revolution been airbrushed from the historical record? So, sounds really good. Let's hope I get there. And I was trying to find Musashi's, I think it's A Book of 5 Rings or something like that. That was the next book that popped into my head. A lovely book, which I read when I was young and have not returned to in a long time. But I couldn't find it. So while I was looking for it, I found Michael Ventura's Letters at 3 a.m., a serviceable compilation of some of his older essays. Of course, he hasn't written now, I think, for 20 years or so, as far as his columns at the Austin Chronicle. However, ample archives exist online, and I highly recommend one going there and just poking around and reading any article that piques your fancy. So, Michael Ventura, there is some yelling going on out there. That means there is some cat misbehavior occurring. So, the next item is to tag 3 people, and I have a couple of people in mind. I think I will. Here's what I'm going. I'm going to tag one person, and you probably have a guess on this one already. One person who is living in Malaysia, one person who is living in Thailand, one person who is living in South Korea, and one person who is living in China. So I'm going to tag those 4 excellent booktubers. Thank you very much for stopping by my channel.